Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we have some amazing stuff. We've kind of gone over a bunch of new stuff today, but you know, never rest. There's ain't no rest for the wicked. We're going to go over the bonus sheet potentially for Edge of Eternities here. We've seen some evidence towards that, as well as the upcoming decks for the set as well. It looks like the bonus sheet could potentially be annoying. It could potentially be split across play and collector boosters, which would be awful. But we'll see as to what you guys think about that. And then we're also going to look at the decks there. Before we get into though, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you share the video around, all that kind of stuff. You know, I think like 20% of people who watch the videos are actually subscribed. You know, we're consistently been hitting 10, 20k views on some of the videos lately, and we're only at 12k subs, so make sure you subscribe. So first of all, the decks here. So we're going to look at the World Shaper first up. So this is sacrifice lands and then grow them back. Oh, it just says grow back stronger. I assume you can bring your lands back as well. It makes sense. So this is a Jund deck, most likely going to have a bunch of landfall-y kind of stuff in it. Kind of sacrifice your lands, throw them into the bin, then bring them back in various different ways later. There's an insectoid on the cover here, which means that, you know, there's likely a bunch of graveyardy stuff kind of going on, because insects tend to do that, or at least, you know, the ones that we've seen in not space are doing that. So yeah, I suspect the two different commanders for the set, like for the decks here, are actually going to be more like a Shurikai style one, where we've got the kind of main face commander here, and then we have a spaceship as our secondary commander with the kind of tag down there that says this can be your commander. Because if you have a look at like the Jeskai and like, you know, the dragon ones from Tarkia, they very heavily have on the front of them the two different commanders. We've got, like, you know, Narset sitting here in the middle, and then her dragon sitting in the background. And they've got similar with these. They've got like our insect dude here, and then in the background we've got like this spaceship, like hive pupa looking thing here. And I think that would be really cool to have more of those kind of like ships that can be, or vehicles that can be commanders. And then we've got like a couple that it's very similar to, like the Lord Windgrace one was very similar, like, you know, chuck lands into the bin and stuff and then bring them back with him. We've got the Desert Bloom one, which was literally kind of sacrificing. Look at the things are almost the same here. Discard lands, grow them back. Sacrifice lands, grow them back. Yeah. I assume your Desert Bloom is going to be very, very similar to this. All right, next up, we've got Counter Intelligence. So this has boost artifacts and then proliferate counters. So likely a one, like +1/+1 counters, assumedly with this one. Assumedly like based around more the power ones rather than chucking out shield counters, etc. But because I think that's going to be more similar to like the Bant one then. I think it's just going to be mostly around kind of power and buffing them up with +1 counters. Robots were Azorius within Aether Drift with the cool little mech dudes, the Guidelight Voyagers. So I assume we're going to see similar to kind of that stuff here. So we might see some crossover potentially, which would be really cool. I'd love to kind of see that. Again, there's a huge ship on the front cover here. And again, it's kind of screaming Shurikai to me, at least. Maybe you guys disagree with me. Who knows? Let me know. They both have two legendary traditional foils within them, which is kind of baseline. You kind of two face commanders there. All right. This is Optimus, what I was kind of talking about there, an artifact creature that chucks out +1 counters. He does it on both sides, and I've got this deck built up thanks to my friend who gave me the commander, and I absolutely love it. It's really, really fun. And this is similar, or at least, you know, a couple things that have kind of been similar to it. We've got a couple counter precons we've had previously with the Bedecked Brokers, and then with the upcoming Final Fantasy one. Both of those were counters. This one here was counters and proliferate. But this one's not specifically +1 counters, keep in mind. This is just all counters. And this one here was all counters as well. So maybe we're going to see more along the lines of that +1 counters. And then we had a few different artifact decks as well. Namely, the Jeskai one from the Fallout set. The Jeskai one from the Modern Horizons 3 set, though, wasn't, like the Modern Horizons 3 energy precon, wasn't really artifact heavy as much. It was more just generically like energy from memory. I don't think it was so much artifacts, while this one here was more focused around artifacts. So, you know, we've had a few similar precons, but not really. It depends on what exactly kind of entails with it. All right, so into the kind of bonus sheet booster insert here. So thank you so much to my friend Jack John Jackson, my best friend ever, for kind of bringing this up to me and showing it to me. But in the product listings for Edge of Eternities, we see these. In the play boosters, it specifically lists EOE 1 to 316, and then EOS 1 to 45. And then you can see here's 9 different special guests. The collector boost is also listed. However, it lists EOS from 1 to 180 rather than 45. Keep in mind that 180 divided by 4 is 45. That's important to kind of talk about a little bit later. You'll see what I mean later. Now, it does not say guaranteed that you'll guaranteed get one of these in anywhere. It could potentially be, but we don't know entirely, which makes me think that it could be a booster insert, which is like a random, it's kind of like the Transformers where you just get a random one potentially within your booster rather than a guaranteed one. Or we could be looking at similar to like the Breaking News or the Wilds of Eldraine Enchanting Tales, mostly because of the fact that it does have that kind of very similar thing where this is OTP, where they changed it from OTJ to OTP. It just kind of changes the last letter here rather than the whole name. With like Transformers, it changed it to BOT, which is bot, obviously. And then we got Wilds of Eldraine with the Enchanting Tales. So both of these were they were bonus sheets. So you got guaranteed one in each booster. We don't know entirely if it's going to be the same here. We'll have to see once the full kind of list comes out and once they kind of announce more about Edge of Eternities. But I suspect more in line with this just because of their fact there is 45 different ones rather than kind of but I don't know, it could go either way. It could, yeah, I think it was only like 20-ish Transformers. So we'll see exactly what happens there. So there's kind of 2 different options here. One is there is a 180 card bonus sheet. Now that is possible, with most of them being collector booster exclusive. It's possible, but I kind of doubt it. It's definitely like, I want to just make sure I cover that base because it is possible. And I do worry about that being the case. And when they did like what that kind of brings up to me is the Imagine Critters, where the Imagine Critters with the Bloomburrow set, they were exclusive to collector boosters and it absolutely sucked. Option 2 is there is a 45 card bonus sheet where, they're 45 within the play boosters. And then there's 4 different styles for it, which we'll get into in a second, where, 4 different styles for each one. That is possible as well. They did similar with OTJ and WOT, where there was multiple styles for each of them. However, most of those weren't, I can't remember if any of those were collector booster exclusive. Maybe the OTJ ones were, but like the anime arts, for example, you could get them within the normal set for Wilds of Eldraine, but then there was some that were exclusive to collector boosters, I believe, which was the confetti foils. Now, interesting here is there is 44 Edge Commander cards, which means that possibly there is 11 new ones in each deck with, that wouldn't be 11 in each deck because that would bring it up to, it would have to be 11 in total new ones, which doesn't work. So maybe it's just 11 in each deck, and then there's 2 different versions for each one. Now, I kind of put a little bit of a spoiler there, but Galaxy foils are back as well. Confirmed, collector boosters will get Galaxy foiling, which is coming back for the set. You get 0 to 3 Galaxy foils in each one, and 10 to 13 traditional booster foils in each collector booster. If you don't know what a Galaxy foil is, it was from Unfinity. I can't remember if it was used before then, but it was definitely used in Unfinity. And it's this kind of cool, sparkling, look like stars foiling, etc. So as I said, used within Unfinity, and they're absolutely stellar, and that is a pun, and I'm sorry. So what I was talking about before about there being potentially 4 different types for each card that is on that bonus sheet is similar to like this Danny Pink, right? So this had surge foiling and normal. So we had normal, we had the extended art here, then we had normal surge foil, and then we had extended art surge foil. So essentially with the extended art, with the surge foiling, they are separate collector numbers as opposed to just normal foiling, right? Surge foiling is absolutely amazing. Galaxy foiling is amazing. It does end up meaning that there is 4 different types for each card. So that's what I mean by the fact that it could just be a bonus sheet with 45 different cards, which then have on top of it the extra styles within the collector boosters, which it brings it up from, so this was, 1 within the deck, and then these 3 were all from collector booster exclusives. All right. So what is on this bonus sheet, obviously? Given that it's EOS, right? EOS. S most likely stands for something. Like we had EOT with the T standing for tail. WOT with the T standing for tails for Wilds of Eldraine. And then we had OTP for the breaking news one from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, where the P stood for prosperity because that was the name of the newspaper that it was from. So S most likely stands for something. It could mean anything though. It could mean like space, ship, solar, etc. So my options or my thoughts are Imagine Space, where kind of like Imagine Critters, where they took creatures and stuff and reprinted them into the style of Bloomburrow, right? So we've got Khan here. If he went to Bloomburrow, this is what he did. If we did it like that, so here's Chandra. What if Chandra went to space? What if Jace went to space? Oh, wait, that's already a card. What if, this creature was in Edge of Eternity, essentially? Potential. Well, next one, ships or vehicles. Now, you would think that would have been within Aether Drift. I don't know. But it is possible that they do like a ships/vehicles themed one where you take that and you go like, here's a vehicle from Magic's history and let's imagine it as if it was a spaceship. I just thought of another one like, planets and stuff like that. Could be like a solar or something where you take like lands and it's a land, essentially a bonus sheet of all lands. And then you take those and then you put them onto it. There's a few different ways this could work as a bonus sheet. It doesn't even need to be reprints necessarily. The other option is Star Trek, right? So it could be, Star Trek. Now, that probably sounds completely out of the blue. Why am I bringing up Star Trek? That sounds, really random. First of all, we had, like, as I said, about the Transformers one. It's randomly inserted within the Brothers War decks and people, not decks, boosters. And people seem to like those. Or at least, some of the people who like Universes Beyond seem to like those. However, last year, we saw this card, which was a test card. Now, a few people kind of theorized around this set, the Edge of Eternity set, being around, like, having Star Trek as a theme. And given the fact that this set is meant to be a space opera, Star Trek kind of fits into it pretty well. And, seeing we've seen this kind of test card in the past, there is definitely potential that we could see this within this set as a kind of bonus sheet / booster insert. More likely the booster insert where it's a random chance to get one in a booster rather than guaranteed you will get a Star Trek card in every booster. More like the Jurassic Park ones as well. Like we had the Jurassic Park, which was, what was the actual Jurassic Park set code? Let me just see. That was Rex. That's right. So given it is OES, I don't know about Star Trek, but it is a possibility. So I did want to kind of bring it up here. And I do think that, it is a potential high possibility because these cards look amazing. And we know that people like kind of, Star Trek, and it's a way for them to sell additional boosters because, people go in, they look for Star Trek cards and stuff. The actual Rex one was 45 cards as well. Oh, shit. Okay, I didn't think about that. So the Jurassic World collection, this was 45 cards as well. Ooh. However, it did show up on the front of the LCI boxes, and I don't think we saw this on the front of any boxes from Edge of Eternity or any of the boosters, right? So on here, it doesn't say, potentially featuring, cards from Star Trek. We'll see as to what that, ends up being, I guess. But what do you guys think? What do you think this bonus sheet could be? Let me know down below. Would you be annoyed if it was Star Trek? Would you be overjoyed if it was Star Trek? Do you love Star Trek? What are your thoughts? I do think Imagine Space is like my top one, especially because I started that like Imagine ... So Imagine Space would make a lot of sense to me. And they obviously got the feedback from Bloomburrow that people hated the fact that this was exclusive to the collector boosters. So we might see that. Who knows? Let me know. Have a great day and goodbye.